Read People: How to Analyze People on First Sight. Written by Justice O. Malcolm. Published by Audiobooks Office. Introduction. Imagine walking into a room full of strangers, each with their own stories, fears, and desires. As you glance around, you could easily feel overwhelmed, unsure of who to trust or how to connect. Now imagine having the power to decode their unspoken thoughts and intentions with just a few keen observations. Welcome to Read People: How to Analyze People on First Sight, where this extraordinary skill is not just a fantasy, but a practical, attainable reality. In a world where understanding others is crucial for personal and professional success, the ability to read people quickly and accurately can set you apart from the rest. Have you ever wished you could gauge someone's true feelings, motivations, or even their trustworthiness within seconds? Whether you're navigating a high-stakes business negotiation, trying to strengthen your personal relationships, or simply wanting to understand the people around you better, mastering the art of people reading is a transformative skill that can provide invaluable insights. But what does it really mean to read people? It's more than just noticing facial expressions or body language. It involves interpreting a complex web of nonverbal cues, behaviors, and subtleties that reveal deeper truths about someone's internal state. By learning to read these signals, you can gain a clearer understanding of their thoughts and emotions, enabling you to respond more effectively and empathetically. This book is designed to demystify the process of reading people and make it accessible to everyone. We will delve into practical techniques and strategies that allow you to decode the silent signals people send out every day. From the way someone shifts their gaze to the subtle changes in their posture, every detail can provide a clue about their true feelings and intentions. By developing these skills, you'll not only become a more perceptive individual, but also enhance your interpersonal relationships and decision-making abilities. Read People is structured to guide you through this journey step by step. We'll start with the fundamentals of human behavior and body language, exploring the science behind why we act the way we do. As you progress, you'll learn how to identify and interpret specific signals that reveal key aspects of a person's personality, such as their level of confidence, honesty, or anxiety. Each chapter will equip you with actionable insights and exercises designed to hone your observational skills and deepen your understanding. Throughout the book, you'll find real-life examples and case studies that illustrate how these techniques can be applied in various situations. Whether you're dealing with a challenging colleague, trying to build rapport with a new acquaintance, or simply wanting to improve your emotional intelligence, the principles and tools presented here will empower you to navigate social interactions with greater ease and insight. The journey of reading people is not just about becoming an expert in human behavior, it's about enriching your interactions and enhancing your personal and professional life. By mastering these skills, you'll find yourself better equipped to forge meaningful connections, make informed decisions, and ultimately, understand the intricate dance of human emotions that shapes our world. So, are you ready to unlock the secrets of human behavior and gain a deeper understanding of the people around you? Turn the page and let Read People: How to Analyze People on Sight be your guide to seeing beyond the surface and discovering the hidden dynamics of human interactions. Your adventure into the fascinating world of people reading begins now. Isn't it intriguing how much the unspoken can communicate with a keen eye and a guided approach? You can learn to decipher the language of body movements, facial expressions, and subtle shifts in demeanor that reveal more than words ever could. Picture yourself in a room, effortlessly picking up on unspoken cues and gaining a deeper understanding of people's intentions and feelings. This extraordinary walkthrough will equip you with the skills to analyze people on sight, peeling back the layers of human interaction. Stay tuned to uncover the secret language of human behavior. For more information about the ebook version of this audio, check the video description or visit audiobooksoffice.com. We noticed that 69% of you who listen to our video are not yet subscribed to the channel. Please help support the channel by hitting the subscribe button and liking the video. Thanks for inspiring us to create more content for you. Chapter 1. The Basics of Body Language. An astounding 55% of communication is delivered through body language, making it an essential aspect of reading people. You may not realize it, but every time you interact with someone, you're not just listening to their words, but also observing their movements, gestures, and posture. These nonverbal cues can reveal a person's true feelings, thoughts, or intentions. Let's start with posture. An upright, open posture can indicate confidence and openness, while a slouched, closed posture might signal insecurity or disinterest. If someone is leaning towards you, they're likely engaged and interested, while leaning away could mean discomfort or a desire for distance. Next, consider gestures. These can vary greatly across cultures, but generally, expansive, fluid gestures can indicate enthusiasm and engagement, while small, tight movements might suggest nervousness or defensiveness. Pay close attention to a person's hands. Are they relaxed or clenched? Clenched fists often reveal frustration or tension, while relaxed hands may suggest comfort and ease. Finally, we have physical contact. While this is heavily influenced by cultural norms and personal boundaries, it can reveal a lot about a person's comfort level and relationship to you. A pat on the back, for example, can indicate camaraderie or approval, while a lack of touch could suggest distance or discomfort. Chapter 2. Understanding Facial Expressions. Beyond the domain of body language, delving into the study of facial expressions can reveal a trove of insights about a person's emotions and intentions. A person's face is a canvas of emotions, exhibiting nuanced responses that can often be more truthful than words. You'll find that people often express their true feelings, even when they're trying to hide them, through subtle facial cues. Start with the most prominent features: the mouth and eyebrows. A genuine smile engages not just the mouth but also the eyes, causing them to crinkle at the corners. A forced smile, on the other hand, tends to be restricted to the mouth. Furrowed eyebrows can denote concentration or confusion, whereas raised eyebrows might suggest surprise or incredulity. The cheeks and forehead also play vital roles in facial expressions. Flushed cheeks can be an indicator of embarrassment or excitement. Tension in the forehead, particularly vertical furrows between the eyebrows, often signals stress or worry. Now, let's consider the nose. A wrinkled nose can display disgust or disapproval, while flaring nostrils might signify anger or fear. Lastly, don't overlook the chin and jaw. A jutting chin can indicate determination or defiance. A clenched jaw can reveal suppressed anger or anxiety. Chapter 3. Decoding eye movements. While facial expressions can offer a wealth of information, the eyes, often termed the windows to the soul, serve as a profound source of insights about a person's thoughts and feelings. A person's eye movements can provide you with an additional layer of understanding that goes beyond their spoken words. In this regard, let's plunge further into the domain of eye movements and what they can reveal. Firstly, ponder the direction of a person's gaze. If they're consistently avoiding eye contact, it could indicate discomfort or a lack of trust. On the contrary, prolonged eye contact might suggest interest or assertiveness. One must bear in mind the cultural context here, as norms for eye contact vary greatly across different societies. Next, pay attention to pupil dilation. Our pupils naturally dilate in response to emotional arousal, excitement, or attraction. If someone's pupils dilate while talking to you, it might mean they're deeply engaged in the conversation or perhaps even attracted to you. Finally, blink rate can also be a telling sign. Increased blinking may signal stress or discomfort, while a decreased rate often implies concentration or focus. However, remember to take into account environmental factors such as light and air quality, which can also affect blink rate. Chapter 4. Interpreting hand gestures. Just as eyes communicate volumes, our hands are equally expressive, often revealing more than our words can. They're an integral part of human communication, offering a glimpse into someone's thoughts, feelings, and intentions under open palms. This gesture suggests openness and honesty. When people expose their palms, they're often trying to convey trust and acceptance. It's a universal symbol of peace, indicating that they're not holding anything back. In contrast, closed fists can signal aggression or defensiveness. Clenched hands often imply tension, frustration, or anger. If you notice someone's hands curling into fists, it's likely they're experiencing negative emotions or feeling threatened. Fidgeting is another telltale sign. When people are nervous or anxious, they tend to move their hands excessively, touching their face or twirling their hair. However, don't jump to conclusions too quickly. Some people just have a habit of fidgeting, so it's important to take this into account in the context of other body language cues. Handshakes, too, reveal a lot about a person. A firm handshake typically portrays confidence and sincerity. Conversely, a weak handshake may suggest lack of self-assuredness or indifference. Remember, interpreting hand gestures isn't an exact science. People are complex, and cultural differences can greatly impact the meaning of certain gestures. It's vital to take the overall context into account, including the person's words and other body language signals. Chapter 5. Analyzing posture and stance. Ever wondered how much a person's posture can reveal about them? You'd be amazed at the wealth of information you can glean just by observing how someone stands or sits. Let's break it down, shall we? First, take note of the general stance. Is the person standing tall, with shoulders back and head held high? That's often a sign of confidence and self-assuredness. On the flip side, if they're slouching or hunched over, it could indicate insecurity or discomfort. Next, focus on their legs. Are they spread apart, or are they closely positioned? A wide stance often suggests dominance or readiness to take action, whereas legs close together can suggest nervousness or defensiveness. Then, pay attention to their arm positioning. Arms crossed over the chest is generally perceived as a defensive or closed-off stance. If someone's arms are loosely hanging by their sides or resting openly in their lap, it's likely they're feeling relaxed and open to conversation. Finally, observe their head and neck. A tilted head can denote curiosity or interest, while a stiff, straight neck might mean they're feeling tense or on guard. Chapter 6. Behavioral patterns to watch. Taking our understanding of body language from posture and stance, we now shift our focus to the domain of behavioral patterns. These are repeated actions or habits that can provide insights into a person's character and mindset. They're not as immediate or fleeting as body language, but they're just as revealing. Consider how someone treats others, especially those they perceive as lower than them in status. If they regularly belittle or disrespect them, it's a clear sign of a superiority complex and possibly an underlying insecurity. Note how they react to stress. Some people shut down, some lash out, others become hyperactive. This can tell you a lot about their coping mechanisms and emotional maturity. Observe their consistency. Do they say one thing and do another? Actions speak louder than words, and inconsistencies can indicate dishonesty or confusion. Pay attention to their level of responsibility. Do they own up to their mistakes, or are they always blaming others? This can show their level of self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Watch how they handle power and control. Are they cooperative or domineering? It's a reflection of their leadership style and their view of others. Finally, look at their relationship with time. Are they always late, always early, or just on time? It can indicate their level of respect for others, their organizational skills, and their attitude towards commitments. Chapter 7. Significance of microexpressions. Delving deeper into the intricacies of human behavior, you'll discover the potent tool of microexpressions. These brief, involuntary facial expressions occur when a person experiences an intense emotion. They're incredibly fast, often lasting only a fraction of a second, making them challenging to detect without careful observation. Microexpressions can provide invaluable insights into a person's true feelings, even when they're trying to hide them. Often, people aren't even consciously aware of these expressions, so they can be a more honest gauge of emotion than what's being verbally communicated. If you're able to spot and accurately interpret these fleeting cues, you'll be one step closer to understanding the person in front of you. 7 universal microexpressions exist: happiness, sadness, fear, surprise, anger, disgust, and contempt. Though they flash across everyone's face in the same way, no matter their background or culture, the reasons behind them can vary greatly. You'll need to ponder the context in which the expression appears, as well as the person's unique characteristics and circumstances. However, microexpression analysis isn't infallible. It's possible to misinterpret these signals or overanalyze them. Remember, they're just one piece of the complex puzzle of human behavior. But when used in conjunction with other observational tools, they can provide a powerful layer of insight. Mastering the art of reading microexpressions requires practice, patience, and a keen eye. It's a skill that can substantially enhance your ability to read and understand people, offering you a deeper comprehension of the human emotional landscape. Chapter 8. Reading Verbal Cues. While mastering the subtleties of microexpressions can give you a deeper understanding of someone's hidden emotions, paying attention to their verbal cues plays an equally important role in reading people effectively. Understanding the ways people use words, tone, and pace in their speech can provide significant insights into their thoughts and feelings. Firstly, listen to the choice of words. Someone's vocabulary can reveal their knowledge, beliefs, and even social class. For instance, people often use words that resonate with their values, so if someone frequently talks about honesty, it's likely a vital principle for them. Next, observe the tone of voice. It's often more revealing than the words themselves. A person's voice can betray anxiety, excitement, anger, or joy. If they're speaking in a high pitch, it could indicate tension or excitement. A monotone voice might suggest boredom or detachment. Pace, similarly, is telling. Rapid speech may mean someone is nervous or excited, while slow talk might mean they're thoughtful or trying to control their words carefully. Finally, pay attention to the pauses. A long silence might indicate that they're reflecting or uncomfortable. Short, frequent pauses could suggest they're uncertain or making things up as they go. Chapter 9. Detecting Deception Indicators. Traversing the labyrinth of human dishonesty can be a challenging endeavor. However, with an understanding of deception indicators, you'll become more adept at charting these complex pathways. It's about observing the subtle shifts in behavior, the unconscious tells that often reveal more than words. Firstly, you've got to understand that lies often cause stress and cognitive load. This tension manifests physically, often in the form of microexpressions, fleeting, involuntary facial expressions that last only a fraction of a second. An unexpected flicker of fear, a brief flash of anger, or a momentary twitch of disgust can signal deceit. Next, pay attention to body language. It's a common misconception that averting eye contact is a sure sign of lying. In reality, it's inconsistent behavior that's a more reliable indicator. Liars often overcompensate by maintaining too much eye contact or frequently changing their position. Watch for fidgeting, touching the face or nose, or covering the mouth. These are potential deception indicators. Moreover, listen to the way people talk. Liars may stumble over words, take longer pauses, or repeat phrases. They might provide too much detail, hoping to make their story seem more credible. Or they might be vague, avoiding specific details altogether. Chapter 10. Cultural Differences in Body Language. Understanding body language is more of an art than a science, and it becomes even more nuanced when you factor in cultural differences. As you plunge into the world of nonverbal communication, you'll find a multitude of cultural variables that can alter, or even completely change, the meanings of certain gestures or postures. Take the concept of personal space, for instance. In North America, maintaining a certain distance during a conversation is considered respectful, while in many Middle Eastern and Latin countries, close proximity is a sign of trust and friendship. Don't mistake this closeness for intrusion, it's merely a cultural norm. Eye contact, too, varies widely. In Western societies, it's often seen as a sign of honesty and confidence. However, in some Asian cultures, too much direct eye contact can be considered disrespectful or even aggressive. It's all about understanding these social cues and adapting your interpretation accordingly. Hand gestures are another minefield. Thumbs up might signify approval for you, but in some Middle Eastern countries, it's an obscene gesture. The Oklahoma sign, a circle made by the thumb and index finger, means 0 in France and is offensive in Brazil. In the globalized world, it's crucial to approach body language with a culturally sensitive lens. It's not enough just to note a particular behavior or gesture, you must also understand the cultural context it's coming from. This awareness won't only improve your ability to read people but also enhance your cross-cultural interactions. Chapter 11. Gender variances in communication. Often you'll find that gender plays a significant role in shaping communication styles. Men and women tend to communicate differently, and recognizing these variances can enhance your ability to analyze people effectively. Generally, men's communication tends to be more direct and task-oriented. They often use communication as a means to achieve an end, making their messages straightforward and to the point. You'll see a focus on facts, details, and solutions. Men often prefer talking about topics, activities, or interests, rather than personal experiences or feelings. On the other hand, women typically employ a more relational style of communication. They often use conversation to establish closeness and build relationships. You'll notice a focus on feelings, emotions, and personal experiences in their discourse. Women also tend to use more nonverbal cues, such as facial expressions and body language, to convey their messages, which further emphasizes their attention to emotional context. However, it's important to remember that these are general tendencies and not rigid rules. People are unique, and their communication styles can vary greatly depending on their personality, upbringing, and cultural background. Consequently, while gender might provide some clues about a person's communication style, it shouldn't be the sole basis of your analysis. It's critical to weigh other factors and observe the individual in various contexts to get a well-rounded understanding of their communication style. Chapter 12. Emotional intelligence in observation. Without a doubt, your emotional intelligence plays a pivotal role when observing and understanding others. It's the silent, invisible tool in your arsenal that allows you to discern hidden emotions, unspoken thoughts, and subtle body language cues. You're not just observing with your eyes, but with your heart and mind too. To harness your emotional intelligence, you've got to become a keen observer of people's emotional reactions. Watch for the nuance in their expressions and the meaning behind their words. A furrowed brow might indicate concentration or frustration. A quick, fleeting smile could suggest amusement or discomfort. Recognizing these subtle changes is crucial to accurately interpret people's emotional states. Then, you've got to empathize. Place yourself in their shoes. Feel what they might be feeling. This isn't about guessing or making assumptions, but about understanding their perspective. Empathy isn't just feeling sorry for someone, it's about understanding their emotions as if they were your own. But remember, emotional intelligence isn't just about understanding others' emotions. It's equally about understanding your own. Avoid jumping to conclusions based on your own biases and emotions. Instead, maintain a clear, objective viewpoint. This will allow you to make more accurate observations and judgments about others. Improving your emotional intelligence is a process. It takes time and practice. But as you get better at it, you'll find it becomes easier to read people, to understand their thoughts and feelings, and to relate to them on a deeper level. Chapter 13. Observing vocal tone and pitch. Continuing on your journey to read people better, let's look at another significant aspect: vocal tone and pitch. This vital tool often conveys more than the actual words being spoken. It's a complex aspect, but with careful listening, you can start to understand the subtle clues hidden within it. When you're analyzing someone's vocal tone, you're paying attention to how they're speaking. Is their voice warm and inviting, or is it cold and distant? These tonal variations can give you insights into a person's emotional state. For instance, an upbeat tone can indicate happiness or excitement, while a flat, monotone voice might suggest boredom or disinterest. Now, let's discuss pitch. This is about the highness or lowness of a person's voice. High pitch often conveys excitement, anxiety, or even distress, whereas a lower pitch might represent calmness, seriousness, or authority. It's essential to recognize that pitch can vary widely among individuals based on factors like gender, age, and cultural background. Remember, it's not just about what people say, but how they say it. The tone and pitch of someone's voice can reveal their feelings and attitudes. However, be cautious and avoid jumping to conclusions based on a single factor. Vocal tone and pitch are just one piece of the puzzle. Chapter 14. Proxemics and Personal Space. While you're tuning into someone's tone and pitch, don't overlook the significance of proxemics and personal space in reading people's behaviors and attitudes. Proxemics, the study of human use of space and the effects that population density has on behavior, communication, and social interaction, is a key tool in analyzing people's comfort levels and relationships with others. Let's dig a bit deeper. Notice how close someone stands to you or others during a conversation. A person standing far away may be indicating discomfort or disinterest. On the other hand, an individual who invades your personal bubble might be overly confident, dominant, or simply unaware of social norms. It's not just about distance, though. Take note of body orientation. If someone is angled away from you, they might be expressing a desire to leave or showing disinterest. But if they're facing you directly, it's likely they're engaged and interested. Observe, too, territorial behaviors. People often use objects to claim space, like spreading personal items out on a table. This could signal a need for control or dominance. Personal space isn't just physical, it's psychological, too. A person who frequently closes off or guards their personal space may have trust issues or feel threatened. Chapter 15. Analyzing Clothing Choices. Clothing choices, a vibrant tapestry of personal expression, can reveal a wealth of information about an individual's personality, status, and mood. They're like silent whispers of their owners, giving away little secrets that you can pick up if you're observant. Firstly, notice the colors. People who often wear bright, vibrant colors may be outgoing, expressive, and open to new experiences. On the other hand, those who stick to neutral or dark colors could be introverted, conservative, or may not want to draw attention to themselves. Next, pay attention to the style. Trendy, fashionable clothes may suggest a person values societal acceptance, or they may have a creative streak. Conversely, someone who wears classic or timeless pieces might be more traditional, with a focus on longevity and quality over current trends. Consider also the fit. Clothes that are tailor-made or fit perfectly often suggest detail orientation, professionalism, or a high personal standard. Loose or oversized clothing might suggest comfort or personal ease is a priority, or possibly a desire to hide their physique. Finally, note the cleanliness and upkeep. Pristine, well-maintained attire can indicate meticulousness and respect for appearances, while stained or worn-out clothes might show negligence or a disregard for societal norms. Chapter 16. Identifying Dominant and Submissive Behaviors. You mightn't realize it, but every interaction you have is a subtle power play, with cues that indicate whether someone is exhibiting dominant or submissive behavior. It's all in the details, the minutiae that might escape casual observation. However, mastering the art of recognizing these cues can drastically improve your ability to understand people. Dominant behavior often manifests in body language. People who are dominant take up more space. Their posture is open and expansive. They're likely to stand or sit straight, their heads held high and their shoulders back. They maintain eye contact, and their movements are deliberate, self-assured. They're not afraid to assert their opinions, often speaking loudly and clearly. On the other hand, submissive behavior is marked by a tendency to make oneself smaller, to take up less space. Submissive people often have a closed posture, with shoulders hunched and heads down. Their voice might be quieter, their speech possibly hesitant. They might avoid prolonged eye contact, and their movements could be uncertain or fidgety. It's important to note, though, that these behaviors aren't set in stone. They can change based on the situation or the person one is interacting with. Also, dominance or submission doesn't inherently indicate superiority or inferiority. It's simply a behavioral dynamic, one that you can now identify and understand better. Chapter 17. Recognizing nervous habits. Beyond recognizing dominant and submissive behaviors, another key aspect of reading people is identifying their nervous habits. These repetitive, often unconscious actions can provide valuable insights into a person's emotional state. First, pay attention to the person's hands. Are they fidgeting, tapping, or playing with their hair or clothing? This could suggest discomfort, anxiety, or restlessness. Similarly, a clenched jaw or tightened fists might indicate suppressed anger or tension. Next, observe their facial expressions. Rapid blinking or avoiding eye contact can be signs of nervousness or deception. People often touch their faces more when they're anxious, so look for excessive scratching, rubbing, or lip biting. Don't forget to take note of their posture too. Hunched shoulders, crossed arms, or legs can signal defensiveness or insecurity. On the other hand, an overly rigid or still posture might suggest an attempt to control or hide their nervousness. Finally, tune into their speech patterns. Rapid, disjointed, or stammered speech can reflect nervousness. Meanwhile, long pauses may indicate they're trying to formulate a response or control their thoughts. Remember, these signals aren't definitive proof of nervousness, they're clues. Deducing from these cues requires understanding the context and comparing these behaviors to the person's baseline behavior. Understanding others isn't an exact science, it's an art honed through careful observation and practice. In the next section, we'll explore the concept of mirroring and rapport building, another essential component in learning to read people effectively. Chapter 18. Mirroring and rapport building. In the domain of interpersonal communication, the practice of mirroring holds a pivotal role. It's a technique where you subtly mimic another person's behavior, which includes imitating gestures, body language, speech patterns, or attitudes. This strategy is often employed to build rapport, create a sense of connection, and enhance understanding between individuals. Now, don't mistake mirroring for mockery. It's a subtle art, requiring you to be observant, empathetic, and responsive. You're not copying every action, but rather reflecting the mood, pace, and tone of the conversation. The effectiveness of mirroring lies in its ability to make others feel understood, validated, and comfortable. When you mirror someone, you're signaling that you're on the same wavelength, leading to a deeper bond and improved communication. Yet, it's essential to remember that improper mirroring could lead to discomfort and mistrust. Overdoing it might make you appear insincere or manipulative. Consequently, it's about striking the right balance, mirroring enough to convey empathy and understanding, but not so much that it becomes noticeable or unnatural. Rapport building, on the other hand, involves establishing a connection or relationship with someone. It's about finding common ground, showing genuine interest, and expressing empathy. When combined with effective mirroring, it creates a powerful tool for understanding and influencing others, Chapter 19. Clusters of Nonverbal Signals. Diving deeper into the domain of interpersonal communication, we encounter clusters of nonverbal signals. These are groups of gestures, expressions, and movements that, when combined, convey a person's emotional state, attitude, or intentions more accurately than any single nonverbal signal could. Consider a scenario where a person leans back in their chair, crosses their arms, and avoids eye contact when you're speaking. Each of these actions on its own could mean a variety of things, but when you see them together, you can deduce that the person is likely disinterested or defensive. That's the power of clusters. They are critical in understanding nonverbal communication because they provide context. Just like words form sentences to express complete thoughts, nonverbal signals cluster together to convey clear messages. It's not about focusing on a single gesture, but about recognizing patterns and considering them in relation to the situation and the person's usual behavior. If you're aiming to read people effectively, you've got to pay attention to these clusters. Look for combinations of signals like facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice. Watch for consistency among these signals. If a person's words conflict with their nonverbal signals, trust the latter. They're often a truer reflection of what's going on beneath the surface. Chapter 20. Assessing confidence levels. How can you discern someone's confidence level just by observing them? The answer lies in the subtle cues they unknowingly project. Pay attention to their posture. A confident person typically stands tall with their shoulders back and chest out. They occupy space without hesitation. If they're sitting, they might lean back, seeming comfortable and relaxed in their own skin. This isn't about arrogance, but about an unspoken declaration of self-assuredness. Observe their eye contact. Confident people aren't afraid to look others in the eye when speaking. It's a sign of honesty, openness, and trustworthiness. However, don't mistake constant, unblinking eye contact for confidence. That can be a sign of aggression or dominance. Confident people often have a healthy balance. They maintain eye contact, but they aren't afraid to break it once in a while. Listen to their voice. Confident people speak clearly. Their voices are steady, not shaky or hesitant. They articulate their words well and speak at a moderate pace, not too fast nor too slow. They speak with conviction, even if they're not particularly loud. Consider their gestures. Confident people use their hands to emphasize points, but their movements are controlled, not erratic or nervous. They're comfortable touching their face or body during a conversation, a sign that they're at ease with themselves and the situation. Chapter 21. Subtle signs of discomfort. Spotting discomfort in others can be as simple as tuning into a few key signs. Observe their body language. Are they fidgeting? This can be a clear indicator of discomfort. It's not just about large, obvious movements, but also the small ones. A slight shift in weight, tapping of a foot, or incessant playing with a pen can signal unease. Pay attention to their facial expressions. Do you see fleeting grimaces, clenched jaws, or furrowed brows? These expressions often flash across a person's face when they're uncomfortable. It's these micro-expressions that often give away a person's true feelings. Their voice can also provide valuable clues. If a person's voice is shaky, strangled, or they're speaking faster than usual, they might be uncomfortable. Similarly, frequent throat clearing or swallowing can be signs of nervousness. Next, consider their personal space. If someone's uncomfortable, they'll likely create physical distance between themselves and what's causing them discomfort. Are they leaning away from you or someone else? Are they crossing their arms or legs, creating a barrier? Lastly, note how engaged they're in the conversation. If they're looking away frequently, giving short responses, or not fully participating in the conversation, they may not be at ease. Chapter 22. Expressions of interest and disinterest. Recognizing expressions of interest and disinterest is critical to understanding people's responses during interactions. It's not just about what they say, but how they say it. Paying attention to their facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice can reveal a lot about their true feelings. When someone is interested, they'll likely lean in, maintain eye contact, and display open body language. They might also respond enthusiastically, ask follow-up questions, or compliment you. Their voice may rise in pitch, and they might speak more quickly. On the flip side, if someone's disinterested, they'll probably exhibit the opposite behaviors. They might lean back, avoid eye contact, or cross their arms. They could respond in short, curt sentences, or they mightn't respond at all. Their voice may lower in pitch, and they might speak more slowly. However, it's important to remember that these signs aren't definitive. For instance, someone might maintain eye contact not because they're interested, but because they're trying to assert dominance. Or they might cross their arms not out of disinterest, but because they're cold. That's why it's essential to ponder the context and to look for clusters of cues rather than relying on one single sign. Chapter 23. Body Language in Group Settings. While it's enlightening to analyze individual body language, the dynamics change when you're dealing with group settings. The group's composite body language tells its own unique story. That's where you need to pay attention to the overall atmosphere and the interactions between members in the group. Take note of who people direct their bodies towards when they're conversing. A person might be speaking to the whole group, but their body might be angled towards a specific individual. This can often indicate who they perceive as the group leader or who they're most comfortable with. Observe how the group members position themselves. Are they huddled closely together or spread out? A tight-knit group can suggest camaraderie and unity, while a spread-out group might indicate a lack of cohesion or underlying tensions. Look for symmetry in body language as well. If the group members mirror each other's gestures and postures, it's likely they're in sync and share a sense of understanding and agreement. It's a sign of rapport and harmony. However, when one person's body language starkly contrasts the others, it can be an indication of disagreement or discomfort. They mightn't express this verbally, but their body language will reveal their true sentiments. Lastly, pay attention to the group's reactions. When someone speaks or acts, does the group follow their lead, or does their attention wander? This can show who holds influence and who's on the outskirts. Chapter 24. Adapting Communication Styles. As you navigate the sphere of human interaction, understanding the nuances of communication styles becomes a crucial skill. Tailoring your message for ideal understanding isn't just about what you say, but how you say it, the tone, the pace, the language used. Being flexible in your approach, adaptable to the listener's style, can dramatically enhance the effectiveness of your communication. Understanding different communication styles is key to enhancing your interpersonal skills. Broadly, there are 4 styles: assertive, passive, aggressive, and passive-aggressive. You're most effective when you're assertive, expressing your needs and wants clearly, yet respecting others. Passive communicators, on the other hand, don't express themselves directly, often leading to misunderstandings. Aggressive communicators are straightforward, but lack empathy, which can lead to conflict. Finally, passive-aggressive communicators indirectly express aggression, causing confusion and tension. Identifying these styles isn't just about labeling others. It's about understanding their perspectives, predicting their responses, and adapting your approach accordingly. For instance, with an aggressive communicator, you might need to assert yourself and set boundaries. With a passive communicator, you might have to prompt them to express their thoughts. In the domain of effective communication, it's not just about identifying the styles of others, but also about flexing your own style to meet them where they are. It's about tailoring for understanding, a skill that demands careful observation, thoughtful analysis, and the ability to adapt. You've got to look beyond surface-level conversations and dig deeper to uncover the hidden patterns in people's communication. Observe their choice of words, tone of voice, body language, and even their silence. Each of these elements holds clues to their preferred style of interaction. But observation alone isn't enough. You need to analyze these cues, draw conclusions about their communication preferences, and adjust your own style accordingly. If they're direct and to the point, match their brevity. If they're more detail-oriented, echo their thoroughness. It's all about meeting them halfway. Mastering the art of flexible communication requires a deep understanding of not just your own style, but also the ability to adapt it to match others. You can't stick to one approach and expect it to work with everyone, because simply put, it won't. Consider this: you're a direct communicator, but the person you're interacting with isn't. They may prefer a more indirect, subtle style. If you keep charging ahead with your usual style, they'll likely feel overwhelmed and the communication will falter. But don't despair. This isn't a dead end, it's a call for adaptation. You've got to be like a chameleon, changing your colors to suit the environment. Start by observing the other person's communication style. Are they direct? Indirect? Do they value emotional expression, or are they more reserved? Once you've pinpointed their style, try to adjust yours to match or complement it. Chapter 25. Practicing and refining observation skills. You're now ready to sharpen your observation skills. Start by focusing on active observation techniques, which are effective tools that allow you to engage more deeply with your environment and the people within it. Simultaneously, you must work on enhancing your perception skills, as they pave the way for a more nuanced understanding of others' behaviors and emotions. While it may seem overwhelming at first, honing your observation skills is a crucial aspect of understanding people more effectively. Active observation involves more than just passive watching. It's about engaging all your senses and paying attention to the minutiae that others often overlook. Start by focusing on body language. Notice the way a person moves, their posture, and their facial expressions. Does their body language match their words? Inconsistencies can reveal hidden emotions or intentions. Next, tune into their tone of voice. Listen to the pace, volume, and inflection. You'll often find clues about a person's mood and mindset in their vocal nuances. Don't forget the power of observation in silent moments too. Pay attention to what's not being said. Often it's the pauses, the eye contact, or the lack of it that tell the most poignant stories. Lastly, remember to practice. The more you consciously apply these techniques, the sharper your skills will become. It's about training your mind to see beyond the surface and tap into the rich tapestry of human behavior. With time, you'll find yourself reading people with an ease you never thought possible. Refining your observation skills is akin to fine-tuning a musical instrument. It requires consistent practice and a keen understanding of the nuances involved. The art of perception is about capturing, processing, and interpreting information, much like a scanner capturing data. It's not just about what you see, but also about how you perceive it. Enhance your skills by paying attention to detail. Notice the subtleties, like body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions. They're silent indicators of a person's true feelings. Practice makes perfect. Start with simple observations, like the way a person moves or how they interact with their surroundings. Gradually, you'll start noticing patterns and behaviors that were invisible to you before. Don't forget that perception is a two-way street. It's not just about observing others, but also about understanding how they perceive you. This understanding can help you adjust your communication style and approach for more effective interactions. In the end, it's all about being a savvy observer, isn't it? You've learned to decode the unspoken, to tune into the quiet symphony of body language, facial expressions, and verbal hints. As you navigate life's social dance, these skills will serve as your compass, guiding you towards understanding and empathy. Remember, it's not about manipulation, but about connecting on a deeper level. So keep practicing, and soon you'll be reading people like an open book. Thanks for listening to or reading this from Audiobooks Office.